Yeah.
Well, that leads to a good topic. So let's talk about your training, for example. And so when, if you're training for a big goal, for a certain race, and there's obviously a lot of time, a lot of reps, a lot of practice that goes into that. What happens when you show up for practice and things just are not going well? What do you do?
That's a good question because I definitely have had many of those. So like most of the time my splits would be like weightlifting 4 times a week, and then I would do a long ride on Saturdays, which that would take up my whole basically Saturday because you go for a long ride and then you're exhausted. And then I would do a swim or two a week. Most of the times it'd be my bike that one I'd show up, my mindset was just not there. So my bike ride would just be terrible. And I'm just out. It's like an out and back thing for me. So it's like, I've done that trail so many times. I know it's coming. And I know when the sucky parts are coming, like when the hills are coming, I'm like, okay. So when stuff like that happens, my mind's not right, or like my legs are really tired and I just like very uncomfortable the whole ride. I get frustrated, I'm not gonna lie, but there's no other choice. Like I'm already out there. I gotta go back. Um Workout wise, like if I have a day where I don't have energy, like I've coached, for example, that's a great other topic for us to talk about. Is like training for competitions and coaching when you have to do like the workouts. I honestly would just take it as an active recovery day and I'll do something else to like make sure my mind is okay, my body's all right. In the past I would push through. Um, and yeah, I guess, and then when there's a sudden ache or pain, example, when I'm swimming, for example, shoulder stuff, that definitely happens. Um, I just listen to that and I respect it. So, you might not get to do the swim you planned on doing that day. You might have not have the energy or the time. That's the hardest part for me is finding the time to do this long distance stuff. So it's not my job, right? It's I enjoy it, so I want to keep it that way. So I'm not going to kill myself in my training, but I try my best to make sure I get the work done. So yeah.
So what you're saying is that, if you have a specific program and, if one day you're supposed to do, a really long bike ride and you show up and you just decide like, my knees got some issues, like, it's probably not a great idea for me to ride today, then it's okay to not do that ride that day.
Yeah, because my life doesn't depend on it. That
Right.
does not put food on the table. Like I very much will switch. Like if I have a swim, I used to swim on Wednesdays. If I was too busy that day or didn't, whatever, I would switch that to another day and I'll do something else on this day at least. But
Yeah. So it
yeah.
gets me, just to hear some people, the things that they fight through to, stick to a schedule, stick to a plan, even outside of working out, with work, a lot of deadlines come up, and I understand that a lot of that is very time sensitive. But I think this always goes back to mindset, doesn't it?
It does.
This shift in what we have to do and what we want to do. And I think if individuals look into what makes them unique as an individual in terms of how they operate, like not everybody is the most productive from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Some people are long not waking up by that point. But maybe you're very active and very energized after lunch. Maybe that's where you put the bulk of your kind of high effort, high energy, focus kind of work. Um, I would like to see more people kind of adapt that kind of mentality that, you know, I mean, we can talk about the United States as a whole in this 40-hour work week thing, but topic for another time.
Yeah.
But I think, in your own work day, being able to, of course, there's meetings and things that kind of mess everything up, but just being mindful of when you feel the most energized, when you feel like you need a break, and when you kind of start hitting that zone. And I think keeping that awareness and bringing that to our own attention is going to help us be a lot more productive. And if there's anything that we can do to kind of elicit that mindset in a certain day, that could really help in the long run. I for one, I'm very like, the task oriented or the detail oriented tasks. I do really well kind of in the mid morning,
Uh-huh.
and then more creative stuff I typically find is more of a later afternoon thing for me.
Ah,
And so with our job, we do a lot of social media content creation, and for me to wake up at 8 a.m. and be like, all right, I need to do this Instagram post, like I need to post it tomorrow. Then I kind of get in this circle about just like, nothing comes to you. We all experience that. But I've also been aware that like late in the afternoon, I tend to be a little bit more awake. I kind of, been through some stuff in the day. I've kind of gotten some of the like bolded point things off of my list, and that kind of frees my mind up a little bit more to kind of start thinking more creatively. So that's typically I do those quick action items in the morning, and then by the afternoon, typically have a little bit more room for creativity.
huh.
That's just me. And so that's what I kind of want to get across, is that there's different ways to kind of operate within the same schedule. And so just being aware and keeping that mindset of how we can prioritize or how we can optimize, I suppose, our workday to be more efficient at what we do. And tie this back to the training cycle, same deal. If you know that weekends are really energizing for you, you put your hardest workout of the day or hardest workout of the week and Monday, Tuesday. And then maybe some recovery work, and then maybe you go hard again Thursday, Friday. Or you front load the week and you kind of taper down, like whatever it works for you. Just kind of pay attention to how your body responds, pay attention to the way that you eat through the week, you sleep through the week,
Yeah.
all those things. What do you think?
I love everything you just said. I totally agree. Even with the workday thing, I'm opposite of you. I find myself more creative in the morning, and then afternoon I'm just like fizzled out with the creativity. So it's funny how people are different, but it's so important to learn what that is for you so you can make sure you get the best work, you for yourself, you optimize your day. You don't feel like you're wasting it because you're stressed out, right? Trying to scramble and like come up with stuff when you just don't physically have that creativity mindset. And also learning to respect your body when, it might be time to take a break, you know? And yeah, same thing with training, just figuring out what works for you, maybe even creating if you're somebody who needs a routine. So like your body habituates, like if you can have a set schedule, I don't remember where I heard this from, but your body will start to look forward to what it is. So like a workout, for example, if you're not a big exerciser, it might be good for you in the beginning to find when you have that best energy levels, and then hopefully you can place your workout in that time of the day. So then your body starts to look forward to it over time. I heard that on a
I
podcast.
think it was the Huberman podcast. It was
It
like
might.
something. Yeah, I remember
I
that.
love him.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone should listen to
Great
him.
recommendation. Andrew Huberman, Huberman Lab podcast.
Yes,
Great.
he's great. I actually tried his breathing technique recently. This is very random and off topic, but it has to do with training. So I'm kind of in my off season right now. Well, I am definitely in my off season right now. I'm just getting back on the bike, like stationary bike, because it's way too cold for me outside. And I read his post about some type of psychological breathing where in between high intensity bouts, so for recovery, so if you're doing like hit training or intervals, you'll do a big inhale, and then you'll just do like you do two inhales, like a inhale, and then a big slow exhale, and you do that like 2 or 3 times, and that's supposed to be like more of a psychological like recovery.
Mm.
uh and I tried that in between my intervals, and I was like, my next high intensity bout was a lot better. So that was really interesting.
That's very interesting. I think just purely by accident, when I was doing my obstacle course races, the longer ones, I actually found myself in that kind of breathing cycle. When you're getting later in the race, and my personal goal for my races was just to run the whole race, was try to walk as little as possible. And so when you're kind of later in the race, kind of having that like bit of anxiety of like, oh my gosh, I still have like 4 more miles to go, and you're like, your body's sore, you're wet, it's just not the greatest situation. Then you start just kind of, the only thing you have is your mind, and what are you focusing on? So I gave myself my breathing to focus on. So yeah, I think I kind of accidentally fell into that kind of breathing pattern, whereas it's almost kind of like that double inhale. I think it just my feet hit like when you're running, and I think it just kind of lined up with my steps, and then it just like took that nice exhale, and it does really calm you and kind of gets you in a state of like, you're fine, you're steady, like you're just rolling through this, like you're gonna make it one step at a time.
Wow, that's
it.
cool.
Now that I'm like aware of it, I need to try it out and see if that's really helpful.
I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I was very shocked when I tried that, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
All right. I'm definitely getting more into the breath work stuff now too. So
I think, yeah, that goes back to our topic. It's just, some of the things that are so small that you're like, oh, well, this is not gonna bring me to that next level, but it's just the little things, a little bit kind of all stacking on top of each other. And it's like, is sleep the secret to success? Some may argue, but it it is sleep plus nutrition. It's sleep plus nutrition plus movement. It's sleep plus nutrition plus movement plus mindset. So it's not just the one thing by itself. It's not like, oh, if I just slept better, oh, if I just did this, oh, if I just did this. But it's more of that holistic approach, and I think that's why Exos is as successful as it is. We've got those 4 pillars, and those are literally your 4 pillars of health, and they're all lined up to support you in everything that you do, whether it is performance or whether it is business or being a parent or whatever it is. Maybe. Yeah, a good human.
Yeah, I totally agree. We live that, right? We live it now. And I know for me, it's changed my life, as I told you earlier. It's changed my life for the better. So once you're able to, I don't know, once you live it, you're just like, okay, like this is real.
You become a believer.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Well, this has been a good chat.
Great chat.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think my last parting words here are just to do the little things and do the little things consistently.
I love that. Thank you for that, Matt.
Absolutely. Any last words from you, Emma?
Just keep showing up.
Keep showing up.
Yep.
Right. Well, we will do just that next week, when we will have another great podcast for you all to listen to. But as for now, been Coach Matt, Coach Emma. We'll see you next time.